Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Knick family. Welcome to Lunchtime Live Recap and Reaction Show. The Knicks lost to the Detroit Pistons in Detroit 121-90. Second straight game, the Knicks have not scored 100 points. Is this a team that's hit a rough patch or a team that's been exposed that really can't win unless they are shooting lights out? Tell me in the chat where you're watching from and one word that describes your vibe about the team. My name is Stephanie, aka Queen. I'm joined by Jeff Klafter of the Happily Ever Klafter Daily Sports Blog. Link in the description and under his name, by the way. I'm gonna say this really quick, and then I'm gonna hand it over to Jeff. I didn't get a chance to speak to him, so I'm really interested in his take on the game. So real quick, I'll say the Knicks are a hot freaking mess right now, right? They are not playing well. Not only is the defense at its worst, but the offense, their bread and butter, cannot top 100 points over the past two games. Brunson played his worst game as a Knick last night, in my opinion, and we're going to talk about that. I do think it's a dynamic. It's not just about Brunson creating for others, but others also hitting their shots, cutting, creating space for Brunson. But we'll get into that. We'll talk about Mike Brown. I didn't understand using Cat at the top of the key instead of in the box against the smaller Detroit Pistons. I didn't understand the small lineups that could not corral a defensive rebound. Diawara is raw. I didn't understand using. I get that Diawara is raw, but I would have still used him on Cade over McBrown and McCullough. I didn't understand the double big lineup against the smallish Pens. Like we'll get into this. All that being said, you're not going to convince me that this is not a good team. Like this is the same team that won the cup, that had to beat a physical Orlando team, had to beat a long, athletic San Antonio team. And even with, I don't know how many rotation players down when we played San Antonio the last time, really, really did a good job up until, I don't know, the last 5-6 minutes of the game. The same team that beat Atlanta last week. Now, all of a sudden, Brown is suspect. The team needs a major trade. Brunson is a ball hog. Like, I get that we're not playing well right now, and we need to get back to our defensive ceiling, or get to, I wouldn't even say back, get to our defensive ceiling, get back to our offensive ceiling. Do they have things they need to figure out? Absolutely. Can we use another ball handler? Something I've been pounding the table for, and we have to get into roster construction as well. You're not going to tell me this is now like a playing team. Like, I'm not buying it. I'm going to listen to everybody, but you're not going to convince me that this is just not a good team going through a bad patch that needs to get it to get it together. Anyway, let's talk about it. Jeff, what did you see? We'll get into it more in depth. And then Knick Nation will be joining us a little while later when we open up the panel. The chat, let me know where you're watching and give me one word to describe your vibe, around this team. Jeff?
Disappointed. Like everything seems like it's in disarray right now, and I'm not exactly sure why. Part of me is like, it's an 82 game season, and you're going to have some bad stretches in any 82 game season, but we haven't had a prolonged stretch of this much losing since like 2022. And so from that standpoint, I think you have to be concerned about what's going on. I think the fact that Brunson and Towns combined for 12 turnovers last night is like, what is happening? And most of them of unforced variety, in my opinion. I kind of thought that Brown fumbled the ball from Jump Street. I don't know why, with Jalen Duren out of the lineup, that we're going big to start. That's puzzling to me, and maybe he's just trying to figure some things out. I don't know. Mitchell Robinson does not look like his normal self, especially. I mean, it's crazy because there were stretches, even in the third quarter, where I felt like he was protecting the rim and being a deterrent and guys, but then we would not get the rebound and nobody else would. And then, and then they'd kick it back out and end up with a 3-pointer. And it was just super frustrating to watch. I mean, it was just, you hardly recognize this team, in my opinion. It's not the team that was playing with pace and with a sense of urgency and really looked outstanding earlier in the season. It looks like they're just, going through the motions, for lack of a better. I mean, I think what you can see in a pattern in 3 games where we were down by 20 points in the second half consecutively, and in all of those games, the other team just looked like they wanted it more. And that's disturbing. Like to me, if you lose because you get beat, okay, but I don't think there are a lot of rosters out there that are just, vastly superior to the Knicks roster. There's no reason that you should go in to Detroit when they're on the second night of a back-to-back and you had a day of rest and you should get your doors blown off like we did. I mean, we got out-hustled, out-rebounded, out-muscled. They were very much in tune to the game, and we were just like, another day in January, like no big deal, like no urgency, no pride, just kind of like not even a team. It almost felt like just, 10 individuals who are out on the court to do their own thing and get their own, and I'm not sure that it's just a Josh Hart injury. Like, I don't think
hell no.
it's simple as plugging Josh Hart back in and everything is fine.
Right.
And maybe this is too far afield, and we could pause this conversation if you want to, but I'm starting to wonder if we need an Eric Snow on this team and make Jalen Brunson and move Jalen Brunson to the off guard like Allen Iverson was in Philly. I'm wondering if we need more of a table setter and a defensive stalwart in the starting lineup with him, just to kind of make things run more smoothly. That was, as you said, Jalen's worst game of the year. But I don't think it's a one-off in that I kind of feel like he's been playing like this quite a bit lately. And I've been kind of saying, yeah, he led the team in scoring, but he's not shooting efficiently. And so I'm kind of, I kind of feel like this has been brewing for a long time, and then the coffee pot just got spilled and, shorted out your laptop and everything, and now everything is on fire. But
what do you think it is, Geoff? Because we have Jalen Brunson has a large body of work. What do you think it is this season?
I'm trying to put my finger on it. I'm not sure. He's, it often seems to me like he's calling his own number much more frequently in the first half, and not necessarily. And I think mostly in the first half is where we've seen him not have good percentages. Right? He seems like I feel like the Jalen Brunson experience over the last month is he's like 3 for 12 in the first half, and then he comes out, and in the second half he starts to make a few shots and get to the free throw line, and he ends up like 10 of 23 with 25 to 35 points, somewhere in that neighborhood, and go from there. And so I'm not real sure like what the specific cause of that is, and maybe it's not even a problem per se. Maybe he's just going through a phase or something like that. But it just doesn't seem like a team right now. It seems like, everybody's just doing their own thing. And as the captain, as the guy who's, the point guard as well, I think that responsibility falls mainly at his feet to get everyone else involved, to make sure that Towns is eating, to, all of those things. I mean, he didn't have an assist for the first time in his New York Knicks career That was crazy. And 6 turnovers is extraordinarily high for him. And I know Detroit has length and blah, 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 whatever, but I can't pinpoint exactly what it is as much as it is an overall feeling of the eye test that something is wrong.
Yeah. I mean, let's continue on with Brunson. I agree with everything you said. And we've had this conversation over the years, right? Since Brunson has been here. Will he grow into getting better at the macro part of the game? Like, when should I score? When should I get others involved? Like just keeping all of that in your head. You can be a scoring point guard and be effective. We've seen it. I mean, basically, is your scoring that opens things up for others. Whereas for a pass first, it would be their passing that opens, things up for the ball handler. It's just the other way around. Either one of them can be effective, but it depends on your decision making. It depends on your decision making. Now, last night I thought it was twofold, because two things can be true. I do think there were times in which he came down and just went to work without even, running sets. It looked like to me, not running any actions, just came down and went to work. But I also think that OG and Bridges are playing their worst brand of basketball right now. Cat is ineffective. When that happens, now a team can really crowd Brunson and make it difficult for them. And let me tell you something about this Detroit team, who I think is number one in defense, second in defensive rating on the season, but number one in defensive rating over the last 10 games. This team can crowd Brunson. When he does make the pass to the wing, still rotate out and contest the shot. I cannot tell you. So Bridges and OG, whatever shots they did get, and I think OG only got 4 shots. Whatever shots they did get were contested shots. These wasn't these wide open shots where you getting into the key, everything is collapsing, they spray it out, you get a wide. There's more contested shots over the past during this 4-game losing streak to the eye test, right? There are stats that let you know how far a defender is for the shooter, and so that may not bear out, but for the eye test, these are less contested shots. We're not playing the way we used to play in the beginning of the season, where Bridges would bring the ball down, Brunson would be off ball. Now we're back to Brunson bringing the ball up. This looks like last year's team. Brunson bringing the ball up all the time. Brunson going to work. Brunson, much more Brunson-centric, and that's on Brunson too, but also it's a dynamic, in my opinion. Not a lot of movement, not a lot of cutting, not a lot of shot making. Cat, not a lot of help for Brunson. You understand? So Brunson's issues are Brunson issues. I'm not taking anything away from how he played last night. He was a hot mess. And I mean boiling hot. But some of it was also the teammates not helping him out and creating space. And you can argue that, well, he didn't give him a chance. He never passed him the ball. OG, let me tell you something. And shout out to Jerrell. Jerrell called this on the weekly show. OG and Mikal can be taken out of a game. They can be taken out of a game. OG, if a defender is chest to chest and he doesn't have an advantage where you passed it to him and he was open for the 3, or they ran out for him and he can attack the club, they just chest to chest. He ain't getting nowhere. Lord forgive me when I said his handle was improving at the beginning of the season. He don't have an offensive bag when he's chest to chest with a defender. I think Mikal Bridges does, but he is so passive that if you just put a finger in his face, he passing the ball. I'm like, come on, And Cat, I mean, I don't want to talk about everything at one time. But my point is, in terms of Brunson, he's been a mess. He hasn't been at his best. I think we do need to revisit. This is what, year 4 with the Knicks, whether or not we need to move him to shooting guard. I thought Bridges would be that guy that you could play him with Bridges, play behind Bridges. Bridges can play behind him and kind of run the offense. I think, nope. We need an actual another guard. A DeJounte Murray type. Doesn't have to be DeJounte Murray. I know he's injured. A DeJounte Murray type. Somebody mentioned, I think it was Andrew K., Sean Livingston type. To your point, an Eric Snow type, for those who go back to the Allen Iverson days, where sure, Brunson can see some point, sometime, on the ball as well. But we might have to talk about moving him off the ball, just in terms of his just not getting the what do you call it? The line between when to pass and when. I just don't think he's getting it. Anything else on Brunson?
Yeah, it's kind of a thing though too. It feels like to me a lot of times when he gets in these matchups with a guy like Cade or Tyrese or one of those, he just kind of takes it personally and wants to like go one against the world. And I kind of felt like that was the case last night, but it's kind of a chicken and an egg argument, right? Because OG hasn't been able to hit a 3 either, even when he has been open of late. His numbers are way down, and McCall is just not aggressive, and a lot of times for a week or so there, Tyler Kolek was coming in and providing that spark and maybe some of that playmaking that we were missing. But even he is kind of, I don't want to say figured out, but kind of, NBA defenses are kind of keyed. Okay, he's in the game. This is what he does. This is how we can take advantage and those sorts of things. And so, but we're not playing the same way we did. We're not playing with pace. We're not getting the ball across the timeline in under 3 seconds. We're not executing the game plan, because those are the things that Mike Brown wants to do. Mike Brown says, rule 1, get the ball across in under 3 seconds, then attack the paint and spray and pray. Like, that is his system. We're not seeing any of that right now. And this is the point that I wanted to make, that's in conjunction with yours. Even when we did get in the lane against the Pistons last night, without Duran, they had like 1,100 blocked shots. It felt like every time we went in the lane, it was coming. Spalding was tattooed on the guys' foreheads last night. So it's not. And I remember a play specifically, and I don't want to. Deuce was fantastic shooting the ball last night. He might have been our best player, but there was one, I think it was in the third quarter, we had a fast break and Bridges is wide open and he decided to attack Cade, and Cade swatted that thing into the 5th row. Whereas if you just make that pass, Bridges has an easy layup or dunk. And so, that kind of decision making, I think hurts. I hate to pick on McBride because I thought he was the only Knick who I can look at and say, yeah, this kid played really, really well last night.
And not just from a shooting perspective. And I don't forget your point. Well, you don't have my condition. I think you'll be fine. Not just from a shooting point. He matched the level of intensity and energy you need to play against this team. The Knicks came out like they were strolling in Central Park. They are a physical team. You played them last year. You've played Orlando. You have to know that if you don't match a team's energy and physicality, you have no chance. And the Knicks did not match it at all. I thought Deuce McBride was the only one that played with energy and I mean, how physical can you be against Cade? But you understand what I mean? Like, his energy was there. I didn't see that from anybody else on the team.
And the problem he has is Cade towers over him, right? So it's not enough to just be a dog. I mean, Cunningham can get whatever shot he wants to against McBride. He doesn't even have to dribble, really. He could just raise up and shoot because he's got and Cunningham's kind of a unicorn like that. He's a very tall guard who's extraordinarily skilled. And when, his 3-point shooting is improving. And so, when you have that and he's one of the top guards in the league for a reason. I mean, I think Cunningham is certainly all NBA
absolutely
at one of the teams. I mean, if you want to say first, second, third team, that whatever argument you want to make, there are arguments for both sides, but Cade is awesome, and Deuce is at a disadvantage already. I didn't think he did poorly necessarily, but like you said, he brought the requisite energy, even if the rest wasn't there. But I mean, Bridges and Anunoby have been persona non grata for over a week now, in my opinion. Like, neither one of those guys is locked in and playing at we've seen OG be a borderline all-star multiple times this season. He doesn't look anything like that player right now, and I don't really understand what's different other than the pace. It doesn't seem like we're doing what coach is asking us to do to start off possessions. And if that's fatigue, if that's rebellion, if that's whatever the case may be, they've got to figure it out. This team has too much talent on it to be trailing by 19 points in the third quarter every single game, which is literally a replay of the same game 3 games in a row that we've seen. It's like you can strip away the team, the opponent's jersey, whatever you want to do. If you just look at the Knick performance the last 3 games, it's like just on repeat. It's like Groundhog Day. You just, you can just see the same patterns existing. And I would argue that even in some of the games that we were winning, you saw some of these patterns kind of starting to rear their ugly heads. But now teams like Philly is fully rounded into health, except for Oubre. Detroit didn't have Duran, but they had
Tobias Harris or LeVert.
Yeah. But I'm just saying they had, they still have Cade, and they have a lot of their players who I think are the more impact. Like, I'm not big into Tobias Harris, and I think Stewart did at least a Duran impersonation, if not being better than what Jalen would have been. And that's not meant as disrespect to Jalen. It's just he did a great job, I thought, last night in protecting the paint. And so, but you also see you see us giving up 3-pointers to scrubs, like on a regular. We can't seem to get our rotation straight. We're back in this getting lost in drop coverage when why are we even playing drop coverage kind of thing. So to me, it's a lot of self-inflicted wounds, and I'm not sure if it's because of rebellion or fatigue or just brain farts or what the cause is. But I think we would do ourselves a favor if we would kind of get back to the game plan and doing the things that accentuate our strengths right now. We're playing away from our strengths. In fact, I think you can argue we're playing to our weaknesses right now as a team.
Yeah, I don't want to lose track of the fact that the Knicks aren't playing well, but the opposition has something to do with it as well. It's possible. And for those who understand schematics better than I do, be sure to chime in. I wonder how much there's tape now out on the Knicks in terms of how the Knicks like to play. As you call it, spray and pray in terms of getting into the key, getting second chance points. I think the Knicks only had 5 offensive rebounds last night. Mitchell Robinson had 3 of them. McCullough had 1. Daddier had 1. So the Daddier one was in garbage time, right? So they know how the Knicks like to play, and everybody knows how each team likes to play, and that's the game plan, to kind of take away what they do best. And they took away offensive rebounding from the Knicks. They took away the 3-point. The Knicks only put up 30 3-point attempts. Now, listen, most of the starters were pulled in the fourth quarter. Maybe they get to 40 if they play, if they play the fourth quarter. But my point is, teams know what the Knicks want to do, and these really good defensive teams know how to take it away. I feel offensively the Knicks are talented enough to find, you can't take everything away. I feel like the Knicks are talented enough, but I'm not sure about their process of late. So, for example, I don't understand why Cat. First of all, I don't understand the double big lineup with Doran out. Like, what is that? Number one. And I say I don't understand because I don't want to get on Mike Brown. He has all of the factors. And I said this about Thibodeau. He has more factors than I know that go into the decisions that they make, right? I'm sitting on the couch with maybe 3 things I'm factoring in. He probably got all the advanced stats, lineups, this, that, whatever. He probably got 100 factors that go into his decision. So I'll be respectful and just say, I don't understand. I didn't understand the double big lineup. I didn't understand the use of Cat. Now, Cat was, if Brunson was a hot mess, Cat was an inferno. Like, he was a hot mess last night too. 6 points, only 1 rebound in 23 minutes. 1 rebound. How do you get 1 rebound? I mean, come on. 6 turnovers himself. Well, why is he playing at the top of the key? Now, I get it. You want him at the top of the key. You're going to pull this into, you're going to get space. I get all of that. But mix it up. They had nobody over 6'9". You couldn't find Cat in the post. Like, you couldn't mix that up and give him some looks down there as well. And if he doesn't go down there, you can't, in one of those timeouts, say, look, because you can't just leave it all on the players, right? Sometimes you got to remind them, when you call that timeout, look, we're going to switch it up. We're going to hit Cat in the post. Let him go one-on-one. If they double, he should be able to locate like something. I didn't quite understand the use of Cat last night. And maybe that was Cat. And maybe that was Brunson. Maybe that had nothing to do with Mike Brown. I didn't understand it last night. Geoff?
I just think a complete lack of physicality from all of our players, especially our bigs last night. We got pushed around and beat up. Like, as you said, we were strolling through Central Park and they were running a marathon at full speed, right? They were like working hard and we were just kind of there. And so, Towns' performance was, I kind of chalked up the last one. Well, maybe he wasn't, fully recovered from, because if you've got the stomach stuff, and I can understand, battling through that, wanting to be on the court and just struggling. But last night was just, and it wasn't just him, like everybody outside of Juice was bad, but he was like unrecognizable bad. Like, I think that's one of the worst games I've ever seen him play. And I don't know if he's tuned out to Mike Brown. I don't know if they're having beef or discussion, but the word is that he and Thibodeau didn't get along that well either. So, is that on him for not accepting coaching, or is that, is it on us for not giving him more looks and getting him? Like, I completely agree with you. Why are we being so stubborn and only Cat can only get the ball here and do this? I understand that can bring some advantages, but when the defense adjusts, you give them a different look and you make, you make them do something else. But we're not cutting, we're not running, we're not doing any of this. Very much, they station to station baseball, as the saying goes. Just, I'm going to stand on first base and wait for my guy to hit a home run. And Jalen's been striking out as much as he's been hitting home runs lately, and so we're really seeing that manifest itself. And I, as someone who really likes Karl Anthony Towns as a player and believes that the Towns Brunson pairing can work, I've been consistent about saying that, and it's just weird. They just are. It's not even that they're not on the same page. I think they're not in the same universe right now. It's like there's no, like, they're not. It's almost like a married couple that's not even talking to each other right now. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, why is that? Like, because they're both team first guys. Like, that's the part that's puzzling to me. Like, Towns is a team first guy. He's willing to sacrifice his own stats for the good of the team. And Brunson has been that as well. Brunson, when you ask him, he's like, I just want to win. And so you have these two guys who say they just want to win, and then they're not doing the things that lead to us winning. And, they're both all NBA players. So it's really bizarre. I mean, it is a small sample size, but it's a sample size that's growing. and not in a good way. If you think that the Clippers game on Wednesday is going to be a piece of cake, I got another thing. You got another thing coming. I mean, that's a team that's playing much better of late. And if you think Kawhi Leonard and company don't want to come into MSG and do the same thing that the Sixers did the other night, you're crazy. I mean, we're gonna. Every game is a struggle and a battle right now, and we've got to figure things out. From a grand scheme of things, I think Shamet and Hart will help because they offer us better point of attack defense, which I think has really been lacking from everybody, including Deuce. As
well as secondary ball handling and playmaking.
Yes, and so you have all of those things, and so. And maybe it's and again, it could just be, as you said tonight, it could be just a rough patch. I don't know. They look broken, but I don't think they're permanently broken. I think it's one of those things where we're beating ourselves right now. But as Dr. Seuss once said, unslumping yourself is not easily done, and we're in a big slump right now.
I will say though, schematics matter. Lineups matter, and approach to the game matters. Say what you want to say about last year's team. I felt last year's team with similar players, right? We added Yabu, who doesn't play that many minutes. We added Clarkson. Last year's team, in my opinion, was a dog team. Now, were there times when they would come out in that first quarter or that third quarter? But I never really questioned them in terms of their spirit and the way I'm questioning it now. Randu says, I think there's something deeper going on with the Knicks to why they're losing. And Wiz said something earlier. Salute Queen and Geoff. What is going on in the locker room is my question. This looks more like lethargy of an emotional type rather than fatigue or lack of talent, even though we still have flaws. And I would add, despite lineups that I didn't think were optimized and despite schematics, right? Is the way this team looked against San Antonio, which both an offensive and particularly a defensive juggernaut, just the energy they showed up with, when they were winning games down 3 rotation players. And I was like, wow, like just finding a way to win. That energy is gone. Now you can argue, fine, they had energy. The only reason they won those games was because they were shooting lights out. And they were. Like one game was 135, 133. No defense, but the Knicks offense was flowing and they were able to shoot like 89%, win the game, right? So I do get that. But just energetically, it was there. Lately, they look flat. Now, let me see if I can get to Jerrell's comment. The Knicks haven't had more than 2 days between games since they played in the NBA Cup. They've either played with 1 day's rest or in a back-to-back for the 12th game in a row. Not an excuse, just saying. I mean, I do get that. But Mike Brown is playing 55 players. You know what I mean? It's not like we're playing back-to-back and we're only playing 7. Or we're playing every other day and we're only playing 7. Guys are averaging, 34, 35, 33. It's not like they're getting massive minutes. But anyway, Geoff, what's your thoughts on that? And Knick Nation, you can you have the link. You could come in whenever you're ready.
I think what's disturbing to me is, and I didn't get to be on the post-game show for Philly, but in the third quarter of that Philly game, I think the Sixers ran the same play like 15 times in a row, and the Knicks didn't stop it once. Like, how in the world, like, you got to be able to call a timeout. You got to be able to see, hey, they're doing the same thing to us every single time. And it seems to be happening a lot lately. We're not adjusting in game. We're not on point, and maybe it is just an energy factor. But again, players are playing fewer minutes than they were a year ago. I guess Robinson was out completely last year though. So, at this time, I don't think he came back until March or April. So, even if we're getting him every third game, it would seem to be better than it was before. And in terms of that, we've had some injuries, but again, we're playing 10, 11 guys a lot of nights. And so, I don't think it's just a matter of we're not playing the kids as much as it is we're not getting anything from these kids on a lot of nights. Like, I think Kolek's production in the last 3 or 4 games has declined considerably. You may say, well, he's not getting enough minutes. I can, okay, we can have that discussion. I think that's a good one, but it's not just him. Like Clarkson, when we were winning, was playing out of his mind. And I think Jordan's been pretty invisible the last couple games himself, and
he was efficient last night though, Geoff. He only got 20 minutes. I would have played him more.
Okay. And again, it just from my perspective, I just didn't notice him. That doesn't mean he didn't have an impact, and so, but I think that's with a lot of the guys, like, Huckporty, Diawara, all of these guys are, if they can, if you're counting on them for a shift or two, even a game or two, I think you get away with that. The longer and the more that you rely on them, I think that the more you see diminishing returns just because of their inexperience as much as anything. Not that they're not going to be good players. I just, they haven't done it yet. And so you go through these up and down periods. And right now we're on the downward part of the roller coaster, and it's not quite as fun.
Hey, Knicks Nation. Yeah, shout out to Knick Nation. I will say this before I hand it over to Knick Nation. I am not really expecting much from our young guys. Like for me, if they do nothing else but just hold the line so that our starters don't have to play a lot of minutes, that to me, that's level 1. That's a good thing in and of itself. And then if you happen to get other things from them, a scoring or whatever, I think that's a plus. Listen, I've said this from the beginning where everybody think I don't like young players. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is being up and down is a part of their development, and they are allowed to be up and down. Like that's part of the development of a young player. You cannot, in my opinion, put them in spots where you're counting on them. That's my only argument with the young players. Play them, but don't count on them. They're going to give you, over the course of a season, you're going to get positive minutes from them. You are, but there's going to be growing pains, which is why I don't want young players being counted on in the playoffs when things ratchet up and gets tough. That's a tough position, in my opinion, to put them in. Well, can they rise to the occasion? Sure, they could. It's not a chance that I want to take. To me, the Knicks are where they are because OG and Mikal is not playing well. Cat is not playing well. Brunson has not been playing well. And I'm not understanding a good part of what Mike Brown is doing. And maybe they're just not executing. Like I said, I don't know all the factors that's going into his decisions, but there's a few of these decisions that I just don't get. Last night, Diawara, I'm not going to get on Mike Brown. He was in the starting lineup. He's collecting data. I'm like, okay, I like it. But you know what? I think I've seen enough. Let me go in a different direction because we don't know. But there was a reason he shifted. But last night, I would have had Diawara on Cade. Now, Cade is Cade. Don't get me wrong. But I would have tried Diawara over McCullough. That he manhandled McCullough. Deuce was in front of him, but he just shot over the top. I would have just tried, Diawara. Anyway, like I said, I'm not gonna kill Mike Brown. Just a few things I didn't understand. Knick Nation, and then we're gonna get to the chat. Chat, hang in there. We're gonna get to you. We always do. We appreciate you guys and what you have to say. Knick Nation, welcome. Always appreciate you rocking with us. You're welcome anytime. Just talk to us a little bit about, what you saw last night. I see the super chat. I'll definitely get to that as well.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Queen. Good afternoon, Geoff.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to the chat out there as well. Good afternoon to everybody. I watched the game last night, and then immediately by the second quarter, I kind of, saw how this was coming. And then I said to myself, let me separate myself here for a moment and remove my emotions points from this game and just try to watch what was happening to us. So I really saw that second half. And like I say, I just totally separated and watched what happened to us. And there were multiple things, as you guys were discussing, that are true at the same time. And it may sound a little controversy in some ways, but a lot of this I am putting on Brunson. The reason why I'm putting it on Brunson is Brunson's our captain. So he sets the tone and he sets, the direction a lot of times of what we're going.
Mm-hmm.
We can't always give him the credit when we're at the top, and as opposed to when we're not playing well and toward the bottom.
Right.
He has to absorb, a lot of it in both. That is a lot that comes with that captain, symbol that he wears on his chest and moves forward with. It's tough to even where to start from, but let's start at the point of where our defense is. Look at if you go back and if anybody gets a chance to watch that game and watch the games, the last 2 or 3 games prior to, look at the distance in which we give players, in which the players, particularly Detroit, gave us. A huge disparaging difference. You cannot, and I repeat, you cannot, on almost any NBA team, give them more than an arm's length of distance before the fact that you can close on them. These guys were sitting there. Please go back, everybody, and watch. These guys are 2-3 arm lengths away from an NBA player. You cannot. It won't work. The worst of the guys will then become to shoot great on you. And that's totally, if you look at that game, that's where we were from a lot of these guys. This is the reason why we get guys who don't shoot 3-pointers well. All of a sudden, their percentages are going up on us. Why? Because they're at free throw. It's like free throws. It's like practice for them. And that's where we were last night as far as with that. Offensively, there is little to none off-ball action happening. So without, because this is where the things that line up far as true and how you, as you say, Stephanie, things that are true at the same time. As much as Brunson is moving and diving and trying to work his way toward the basket, and a lot of times, all of a sudden, if you really watch in a lot of these screens, you'll see there's 2, 3, 4 guys, and then him not moving that and not moving that ball. What these guys are doing is still standing behind the defender. They're not making themselves available, and the coaching staff has not created enough off-ball action to create open passage lanes and free kickouts and what's names. He has the points of where he will say the principles is to get into that lane and then spray. They want to do that on the average of 20 times. They 100% almost took that away from us, and it hurt us. That was one, what's name is. The fact is, too, is that they ran odds, looks like, on how many times that as opposed to we run a pick and pop or as a pick and roll. So what they did was jump out on the pick and pop, which then just controls us. Because why? Because there is nobody who aggressively rolls and the odds of them getting that ball. If that had changed, you would have saw the defensive principles change probably a little bit, but it didn't happen. It just doesn't happen. With that being said, there are multiple things that are going wrong at the same time.
At the same time.
Just as you said, Brunson can't have his head full down and saying, hey, I'm going to get mine. Because sometime, if like you and Geoff said it, there are matches where he begins to take it personally. And that's what he's doing. He's, you know what I mean? Every person that plays ball, male or female, doesn't matter. There is a machismo point to you at some points in times where you just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take this player. I'm going to do this name, do this or do that. So what Brunson is doing is arguably he's elevating himself in ways, but not elevating the team. He has to draw that line where he is on point with elevating certain points of his game, but more so he has to commit to elevating the team. And those two things can't be true at the same point in time. Those are 2 points where you have to stand separated. And what Brunson right now currently is doing is elevating his game and not elevating the team game. Because by all rights, having no assist tells you where his mindset was in that point of that game. There was, you know what I mean? As a guy with a handle like him at one time, there's got to be some point where you could drop it off to a guy to get a guy an easy basket. That didn't happen. So therefore, that tells us that, hey, he is kind of focusing and honing in on elevating his game, which eventually does what's named the team at times, but that doesn't work. This is the reason why we keep saying where Kolek comes in the game, it changes the dynamic of the game. It's because why? Because Kolek, like I said earlier, this kid is a natural passer. That's just the point of what he does. Mike Brown needs to figure a point out, because if we don't change the principal points of our lineup, we have to then kind of go back into a point of like college. And why college is because college guys don't all have great handles. There's a lot of them who don't. So how do they create offense? They still create offense with ball movement and off ball movement. Those are things that currently right now we are not doing as a team, and it is hurting us on a constant basis. Our defense has to pick up. Our players have to come to some point, maybe a team meeting, and discuss this. Something is principally wrong. We don't have Hart. We don't have Shambit. All right, those guys are track runners. I get it. Some of those are the 5 points of which Mike Brown likes to talk about points of his system. These are the reasons why he loves why he loves these guys, because why? Shamit gets to that corner principle. He's doing that, he's doing that cardio. He's getting in that corner. He's always a lot of times the first guy in that corner, or if he's that, he makes a quick dart point to the basket. That's a staple point in his system. The second point of it is Josh Hart is pushing the pace of that system. Without those two things, we are definitely lost at what's name. His whole system, like I say, it begins to crumble once you start removing, places of dominoes of it. And that's what it looked like last night. They removed quite a bit of our dominoes, which then gave us no continuity to do anything. Smart move on the coach's part. And that's just where that was my,
Yeah, I get that.
That's my take on it.
The question I have for you, though, is why all of a sudden? Because we've been missing Josh Hart for some time. We've been missing Shamit for some time. Is this the Knicks going away from their principles, or is this Detroit in particular being able to take it away, what the Knicks like to do, and the Knicks not responding? Because remember, just the other week we beat Atlanta. We played Atlanta. Atlanta was the last opponent. 99 points. We didn't hit 100. The defensive issues are legit, but now our bread and butter, the offense, is now a hot mess. Haven't topped 102 games. We've been without Josh Hart. We've been without Shaman. We were still moving the ball and cutting and getting actions and hitting shots. And listen, you could tell the difference between, hey, we're doing those things and we're just not knocking down shots. And we're not doing those things. And from the eye test, I don't feel the Knicks are doing those things and just missing shots. They're not doing those things. So my question is that just them getting tired of buying into the system? Is that just Brunson going rogue? Or is that the defense of particularly these last two teams figuring it out and making it difficult for them?
Well, there's a few factors in there as well. Mm-hmm. Level of competition, 1. 2, game film. And a lot of times when opponents begin to build up and get game film on you, and they understand the principles of your offense, there are countermeasures. We are not able to counter those countermeasures. We're a very young team in this system, and right now, just naturally, we can't counter their countermeasures. There are not enough of IQ players that are currently on our team that know that Mike Brown's system and what's the next avenue to do with it. That means that the coaching staff, point blank, has to implement that when he has time to. And currently, right now, we don't have time to. So what they have to do is reasonably go back to the core point and the simple points of the system and reevaluate what they've done and what they're doing wrong. And currently, we don't move. The first step is to move fast enough. We are not moving fast enough. It's like tell me the ABCs, but you skip and go B, C, D, E. You know what I mean? We're not getting to the first point of A, which then is breaking down the point of the whole system from there. And that is getting the ball past half and then moving and moving to the point of where these guys are. We played against the Detroit defense and the last few opponents that are set up and are ready for us. That's not what Mike Brown's system is. Mike Brown's system is to try to separate you from that, to get you a point off balance. These teams are defensively and schematically on balance, and that hurts us because why? Once again, like you said, Steph, we don't have the ball handlers to just say, hey, I'm going to break one guy down and go, you know what I mean, and make that
and create an advantage. Because if you could break your TV down, they have to rotate. Somebody is open. You find that guy, you give them. Who's creating the advantage for us besides Brunson? Cat on the double team can create an advantage for us. That's not happening because he wasn't in the post at all last night. So who's creating that advantage for us to get those guys good shots? Because OG and Mikal Bridges are at their best playing off of guys than they 100%. Are creating themselves. I do think Bridges has a lot of creation in his game, or some of it in his game, but he's choosing not to use it. His preference is just to play off of Brunson and just take it as it comes. I really would like to see him to be more assertive because I feel like he can create now. Bridges his handle is getting exposed too. I thought he would be good enough as a secondary ball handler. So I don't know. Before we get to the chat, Geoff, you want to add anything?
I think that Knick Nation makes a lot of really valid points, and really one of our biggest things is we're not cutting and we're not moving. Like the easiest person on the basketball court to guard is the one who's standing still. And I don't know if that's effort, energy. I know it's not schematics. I know that the Mike Brown system is based on cuts and moving and those things. And we have players who those are their strengths. We just seem to be like, yeah, we don't have to do that anymore. Let's just let Jalen do it or whatever. I don't know what the thought process is, but the more we move and the faster we get our offense in motion and cutting, the more dangerous we become and the more difficult we become to stop. If we're just going to take turns going one-on-one with everybody else standing in the corners, we're a very easy team to defend. And the crazy part is our 3-point field goal percentage has actually been pretty good. Even in our losses, it's not like we're shooting 15-20% in a lot of those games. We're getting a high volume of threes, and we're even making a decent volume of them. It's what we're doing the rest of the time that really is short-circuiting the offense, in my opinion. I mean, I think if you look at the last 10 games, we've had several games where we've been 36, 38, 40% on a large volume of threes. So I don't think it's just that we're not knocking down shots from three or we're selling. That part is still kind of solid. It's everything else that getting if you're not getting threes, you need to be getting dunks and layups that we're not getting those right now.
Yeah, that's a fact. What's the fix? Do you think this is just about getting back to our principles, getting more gritty? What's the fix?
Well, I think we first have to get back to our principles, right? Because it's one thing to say the offense isn't working, because the principles are failing. That's one argument, right? But if the offense isn't working because they're not doing the principles, then that's on the players to do what they're supposed to. So for step one, get back to what was working, the early part of the season. And then if we continue to struggle, even though those principles are in place, then you talk about roster adjustments or, heaven forbid, coaching adjustments. But, so I think, first of all, it's getting back to playing Knick basketball. And a lot of that is energy and commitment to out hustling and cutting and being active on both sides of the court. And we haven't seen that at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no rest for the weary. I think we play Wednesday, Fridays, and Sunday.
Yep.
I think we play the Clippers at home, and then we're on the
road.
we're on the road. So no rest. I think Josh is a week away. Maybe they said that maybe 2 days ago, a week away from being reevaluated, not even returning to the court. Shamit.
Monday, I believe they talked about him possibly returning.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to the chat. I'm sure they're gonna bring up some really good points for us.
You said you had a super chat too.
Oh, I did have a super chat. Let's start with that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, great take debates from Detroit. Listen to Uncle Freezy. I feel Knicks need to play as quick and fast as they can. Josh Hart helps. Also, our Pistons love to penetrate the paint. Yeah, and they do. They did last night, and they had guys step up for them. They had guys step up for them. The energy, you could feel the Detroit Pistons energy coming off the screen. Like they were, and this was the second game of a back-to-back for them. You might want to say they're a younger team, whatever you want to say. They were locked and loaded and ready for the Knicks. They're not what did they shoot from 3-point? They shot 51.6% from the 3-point line. And on the season, they're 18th on the season at 35.5%. They take just 11 attempts. And last night they took 31 attempts from 11. Did I read that right? That they only take 11 attempts? Here it is. Detroit takes, because that just sounds like, yeah. Oh, that's made. I'm sorry. Attempts 31.5. They only make about 11 of them. Last night they took 31, but they made 16. Listen, I think everyone knows with the Knicks, you're going to get 3-point attempts. They're going to be wide open. And even if you're not a good 3-point shooting team, take them. Because if you're hot that night, you have a good chance. You have a good chance of winning. Great take debate. Your team was great last night. Cade Cunningham was good. He's not really a good 3-point shooting player, but last night I think he made 3 or 4. 13 assists. Oh, I have to say this about assists because I know Ajay is listening. Part of the assist obviously is you have to pass the ball, but guys also have to make shots as well. It's a 2-part equation there, and a lot of times, if you're not tracking it, you can't just go by assists. You got to go by. I think there's a stat called potential assists. I think you could do. You can track drives, passes off of drives, like what was the percentage of passes, off of drives that Brunson made. But just keep in mind that assist is a 2-parter. You got to pass and guys have to hit shots. That being said, you can't tell me that, the passes was made and nobody made made a shot. Anyway, thank you. Great takes debate, from Detroit fan, but it's been in the chat. And if you're from another team, you are definitely welcome in the chat. Wayne Peterson, I think
Parrish Duggar did a super chat too, by the way.
we have another one.
Parrish Duggar.
Oh, Paris Duggar. Oh, shout out to Paris Duggar. Appreciate you supporting us. Long season. Guys are going to struggle collectively this month just because it won't be how we look in a playoff series. Cat needs to, I take it, get to another gear. And I think he can. Like something, listen, Cat also has a long body of work. Let's not act like this is Cat's first season, right? Something is going on with Cat. Cat showed up for us in the playoffs last season, both offensively and defensively. We know what he's capable of. So it's hard for me when a team goes through a tough stretch to just like automatically flip it. Oh, this is just a terrible team. We just can't win. Like it's a bad stretch. And the same thing with Cat. He's struggling this season. I don't know why, but I've seen Cat in Minnesota. I've seen him here with the Knicks last season. He looked much better than this. Something is going on. This is not like he's played 2 seasons. We know who Karl-Anthony Towns is. This ain't it. What now? Is he just off and struggling with the new system? Is the system not right for him and also needs to be adjusted? I don't know the answer to that, but we ain't going nowhere without Cat. I'm sorry. If he doesn't get it together, whether it's him, schematics, whatever it is, he doesn't get it together, this team is just not going anywhere. Yeah. OG and Bridges, you guys feel free to
the only thing I would point to that is that for Cat, and not that I'm saying that, any of this is, excuses his play. But the difference is too, from where he came from Minnesota into where he is now. The difference is that he had a player over there who could break down a defender on his own. Brunson technically a lot of times doesn't break defenders down on his own. It usually starts coming off of some point of a screen, some point of a pick, and then he gets that action and then he attacks that point of a movement. So the crowd in the space of where he is, it's a lot tighter. And a lot of times Cat, when he was getting those passes in Minnesota, he was open. He is not getting the same look defensively that he has got in the past. When the next time you watch the games, just watch.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean? And go back.
I agree.
That's
with
a little
you.
bit of question.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I agree with you this season, but last season, Cat had the best season of his career with Brunson. So I guess I'm saying, what's the difference between last year and this year? He had the best season of his career.
I would make the argument. Oh, sorry. No, I would make the argument that it's the coach's job to put his players in the best position to succeed, and that means all of his players. So if Cat's not getting the number of touches, if he's not getting the ball where he's supposed to, then Mike Brown needs to fix that. Like that's part. I hate it when coaches are so
here, Geoff.
Yeah. But it's not happening. I think it's a regression, if anything. So if that's the case, then I think you kind of need to look at why, he was brought here for flexibility. Well, why isn't he being flexible with the offense so that it features an all NBA player? That doesn't, to me, play to your players' strengths much more than have just a system and have the players fit into the system. Like I've always been a proponent of that. I think the best coaches maximize what their players do best, and I don't think we're doing that with Towns right now. And I think that's not the only reason for his struggles, but I certainly think that it's exacerbated them.
Yeah, Geoff, I just to tag on to that a little bit. We also have to remember Mike Brown is an orchestrator of this system. He's not an implementer of this system. He has an offensive, he has a defensive, coordinating offensive coordinators. It's the offensive coordinator. Like I say, he has to come up with something to get Cat easier looks and easier baskets just in general. But We just, I know it's a disparaging point of a difference, but there is a difference. Mike is orchestrating it. He's not creating it.
I get what you're saying, but it's like a offensive head coach in football who brings in an offensive coordinator. You can't tell me that they're not collaborating on things, and that offensive head coach is just saying, you got it, and I don't have any input into it. I do think Mike Brown is coming with his system, because he already talked about what his principles are. I don't think that's coming just from the offensive coordinator. I do think they are collaborating on it, but in any event, he's the head coach. He could go to his offensive coordinator and say, yo, what's up? We got an all NBA center here that we're not getting the best out of. What can you do? Even if he is totally hands off, what can you put in place to fix this? I think it's within his right, and it's not even as his right, his duty to to say that.
He said it last night on a press conference. He said that that's exactly what you just said. It's exactly what he said on a press conference last night.
Good. I said this early in the season. I said, I'm not liking the connection between Mike Brown and Cat. I just don't think Cat gets the rope Brunson gets. And there's two schools of thoughts. And Geoff and I was talking about this before the show. Treat everybody the same. You're not playing well. You come out the game. It doesn't matter who you are. Or this is the NBA. And if you want to keep your job, you better have you can have good relationships with everyone else, but you better have a good relationship with your top players. I don't see where Mike Brown is making things easier for Cat. And I see that Brunson has a longer rope than Cat does. And I think Cat's rope should be as long. It's important that guys know you're in their corner. And I get it. This might be a little fugazi, like the hell with that stuff. You either playing well or you're not. If you're not playing well, you sit there. I get it. That's another train of thought. But what I'm saying is, you want to get guys playing their heart out, have that connection with them, put them in the best place to position to succeed. I don't believe that has been the case. Now, Cat ain't been at his best either, and some of that is separate from schematics, in my opinion, separate from the lineups, him playing with Robinson and playing the four. I just feel like he's too loose with the ball. I just don't understand why he cannot be strong with the ball. Is he getting fouled? He's getting fouled, but all of this flailing is not helping you get the calls. Get the call. So I need Cat to be better, but I think he needs some help. Like, again, two things can be true. Yeah. I just feel, listen, what was when Thibodeau was fired, what was one of the points? There was a multiple. We need somebody that's going to maximize Cat and Brunson together. I haven't seen that. And we need somebody that's going to maximize this offense so that it's not Brunson-centric. They didn't say that, but basically make things easier. And we've seen that beginning of the season. It's gone now, at least over the past 4. And some can argue even before that, we've just been winning despite that. That's why we brought Mike Brown in. This is where you're supposed to be different than Tom Thibodeau. Now, every team and every coach can go through a rough patch. Let's just see if this is a rough patch. Thing with Thibodeau, when they put that center on Hart, there was no adjustments. Whether putting that center in action and getting a switch off with Brunson, whether it's taking Hart out with McBride, like there was no adjustment. If this is a matter of teams figuring the Knicks out, it's going to be interesting to see what the adjustments what the adjustments will be.
Parrish gave us another super chat, by the way.
Super chat,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you guys for keeping an eye on that. Paris Duggar, appreciate you rocking with us. Appreciate your generous super chat. Gotta push back. Cat needs to know what his bag is. No one can help him if he doesn't lead with how. Brunson never needs a pick. It's their offense. It's I think Cat can get help. So I do disagree with that. He does need to be better, but I think you can put him in more favorable positions. There are times when Brunson does need a pick, depending on who's guarding him. There are times when he can get into his bag in terms of the hesitation and, and his handle and get into the key without a pick. But there are some times when he does. It's helpful.
Last year, he refused almost every screen they set for him. Like that, he would almost always go opposite the screen. It was frustrating to me. I was like, why are you not taking the screen? But that's just how he likes to operate. And in fact, during the playoffs, a lot of what we ran last year were ghost screens because he does like to reject the screen so frequently that it was just easier to set the ghost screen and let him go to work with a little bit more space instead of bringing the defender all the way to the front of the action. And if you saw Mitchell Robinson's screens last night, I think you would argue that they were useless. They were just literally bringing the double team to Jalen instead of providing any advantage.
That's a great point, Geoff. I agree with that. It's their offense. Yeah. So over the last, let me see if I can get to this real quick, just to add some context to what Paris Duggar is saying. The Knicks are like still top 10 in offensive rating. This is on the season, though. Last 10 games, 8th in offensive rating. Last 5 games, 20 in offensive rating. The last 4 games, which is this 4-game losing streak, 27th in offensive rating. And then the last 3 games, dead last, 30th in offensive rating. The defense is a mess. Don't get me wrong. But their offense is even worse than the defense. Well, maybe they're neck and neck. I don't know. But I would say the offense is worse because the drop is furthest. They weren't a great defensive team, but they were okay. They're not even okay now. But the offense going from, at one point, I think they were 2, 3, to the last 3 games being dead last in points per 100 possessions. The offense is a mess right now.
Complete.
You're not winning. I don't care what your defense is, unless you're the 2 Knicks or something like that. 99 points, under 100 points. How many games are you winning in today's NBA scoring under 100 points?
Win any games nowadays. You could win a game with 99 points in the Patrick Ewing days. They only averaged like 90 points a game, I think, some of those seasons. But nowadays, if you're not up 110, 115, that's like league average. But again, it's a long season. Oklahoma City got blitzed by Charlotte by 27 points in their own building the other night. You're going to have some patches and some stretches where you're going to struggle over the course of a season. Is it alarming? Yes. Is it concerning? Yes. Do we need to keep an eye on all of the things that are going wrong right now? Absolutely yes to all of those things. But over the course of 82 games, typically the talent figures it out. And we have a lot of talent on this team. So my confidence is that we'll snap out of it and we'll figure it out. But hopefully that's sooner rather than later, because we have it's brutal because it's a West Coast swing, but we have 5 games on the West Coast coming up, and you do not want to continue in the doldrums and have this 4-game losing streak turn into 8, 9, 10. That's what we need to avoid. We've got to put the brakes on, get a solid game under our belt that instills confidence, and build from there.
The Knicks are now in 3rd place, and Philly is breathing down our necks now.
Yeah, and playing well. We definitely have more questions. We actually, honestly, right now have more questions than talent, and that is concerning.
Yeah. Now, is this just so we need to get our troops back? And we'll talk more about this Thursday. Do we need to get our troops back? Or is this we need to tweak this roster a little, or we need to make a major change? I was going back and forth with Ajay last night, and it just kills me when we're playing well. Oh, everything is great. This roster is good. And then we hit a rough patch. Oh, now we need major. It's the same team. It's the same coach. Now he's suspect. You know, if you weren't calling for roster changes before when we were playing well, it's one thing if you was like, whether we win or not, I think we need A, B, and C, which I always thought we needed another ball handler, even when we were playing well. I've been saying that from the beginning. And I think we don't talk about enough is the roster construction of this team. Oh, we got to be better defensively. But look at the team. Look at the roster you constructed. You're not going to be a top 10 team. Sorry. With, in my opinion, with the roster you constructed. You're just not. So I think we have to look at that. We have to look at this as well. You bring Cat in to pair with Brunson. Basically what you're saying is we're going to be a top-notch offensive team. That's what you said when you brought him in here. I'm not saying our defense can't be better, but look at how this. Then you bring in Yabusele. Then you bring in Clarkson. Like what defense are you expecting? So the team is getting a hit, criticism for the defense. Mike Brown is getting criticism for the defense. But we also have to talk about, let's not let the front office and the way this roster is constructed off the hook as well when it comes to defense. Yeah. And last night was that Sherwin has been saying this all along. I didn't think our height in most games was a factor, but last night it was. You know,
ironically, when we played our biggest lineups, I thought they were ineffective. So it's like the too big lineup. I hate. I honestly,
I don't think we needed to go that big. I mean, I don't think we needed to go with those two bigs, but I would have liked to have seen Diawara a little more, maybe a little more Huck Porty, and instead of Mitch. I thought Mitch was fine, but sometimes you gotta mix it up. Wonder Woman, salute Steph, Geoff in the chat. Not sure what is going on. To be honest, I'm a little concerned with the body language. Yeah, the Knicks are looking really flat, energetically, energy-wise.
Jamrock had another super chat, by the way. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I did not. Thank you. Kev Berg, we can't give up the paint and points from three.
Yes.
Yeah,
we can't.
Yeah.
Jamrock always. JB averaged 4 more field goal attempts the last 10 at 10, 20 versus 24. I hear you. Okay.
Diawara seems to be in the doghouse, but I don't know why.
Yeah. Born Freedom 5592. Why is no coach telling him to move the ball? Mike Brown indirectly was talking about Brunson in the post game when he said the ball doesn't move anymore. We hold on it. We hold on to it too long. Mm-hmm. Wiz, imagine your top players having 12 turnovers and 1 assist with the only assist coming from your center and not your point guard. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay.
Yeah, 24 points collective of 4 of our starters. Collective. 24 points.
Not going to work.
No.
Wayne Patterson, let's be real. We've seen enough to know that this is OG Anunoby's offensive ceiling. I hope not. I hope last night's game was not an indication of his ceiling, but I do hear what you're saying. He doesn't have an offensive bag, and when you play him tight and up close, you're not going to get much because his handle is just not tight enough. But if he has wide open threes, hopefully, he'll get back to hitting him at the clip that we're used to, and he can attack a closeout again if they're running out, at him. Let's
But
see.
Steph, how long can we keep our same players just positioned in the corner, left corner, right corner, left corner, right corner?
That's
Cat,
the
cat at the top of the key. Brunson, you know what I mean, scrambles and moves around. But our core players, you know where they're going to be. If I know where you're going to be, I'm going to design a game plan for you because I know exactly where you're going to be because it's no surprise. We've got to come up with some surprises. It's just getting too normalized. Basketball is a game, you know what I mean, that has like a dance and just a natural flow point to it. Have taken away that, and what we look like we're doing is just same old, same old, same old, same
but
old.
but there's supposed to be movement off of that. There's supposed to be relocation off of that. We're just not getting it.
That part right there. That's the part right there. Where has been no real relocation. And the players, like you say, if you're getting down and you get into the offensive slower, that definitely then knocks out the principles of getting more of that rotation.
Right.
And hence is where we're at.
Right.
To piggyback off of that, there's a massive difference between running to the corner and sitting there saying I'm open, to setting 2 off-ball screens and then a cut gets you to the corner and then you're there. There's a complete those two things are not the same thing. But that goes back to not getting the ball across the timeline fast enough because there's not as much time to run through all the sets like you're supposed to because it requires time to do all of those things. And if you're not getting the ball into the front court till 16 seconds left on the shot clock, you don't have the time to run through those actions to get to those. So, that's a real problem.
Yeah, and that's something we were doing very well to start the season. And now we're back to Brunson grinding it up the court. Now, I don't know if that's, lack of confidence in the other ball handlers, lack of confidence in Bridges. I think teams have been pressuring our ball handlers more lately, ever since the San Antonio game. And so maybe that's been part of the shift, going back to, just Brunson bringing the ball up. But I agree. We have to get the ball, pass it up. We got to get the ball over the court fast enough. They could be taking away that pass, right? The Knicks would be like 2 passes where over half court. Teams might be taking that away. I would have to, look at the game over. And I don't think I want.
Don't watch that one again. Don't do that to yourself.
Wayne Peterson, how many times we see Mike Brown signal to the ball handler to push the pace across the half court, and the ball handler didn't push the pace. Is Mike Brown even getting to these guys? Yeah, I mean, it's real early, though. Are you trying to say that you think he may have lost them?
Utilization as well, because we asked about, like you say, Steph, another ball handler. We have another ball handler. We don't utilize him in that way. I don't know if we can utilize him in that way, or they should have started him off that way, and that's Clarkson. Because you're not just going to easily steal the ball from him. He's a guy who will bump and push you off.
In Utah, to your point.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't utilize him in that point of the system right now that way. So it's like getting ball handlers, but then we got to utilize them in that way too, though. And right now we're not utilizing him in that way.
Yeah.
We got to find answers.
Yeah. Born Freedom, to Jeff's point, or Nick, or it might have been Nick Nation. The last 4 games for the Knicks look like copy and paste. Andrew K, this wasn't the real Knicks we saw last night. Slow double big lineup versus the fastest, most physical team in the league like Philly and Detroit. Dumb decision. One word to describe this team is unrecognizable. D Grant 63. I know it's not time to panic, but I've been saying Knicks cannot win with Cat. Leon needs to think real hard about this trade. I never saw that Cat was the answer. Listen, Cat was one of our best players in the playoffs last year. I don't think we lost last year because Cat didn't show up. He's not playing well this year. We need to figure it out. I don't think Cat alone is the reason why we're on this 4-game losing streak, but he is not playing well.
I will say this. I do think that if this team flames out this year, there'll be serious consideration given to Giannis for a cat move in the offseason when we have draft capital that we can send that way as well. So, I think that they are on borrowed time, so to speak. I think they need to figure it out and have a strong showing this year. If this team regresses significantly in terms of even regular season play, sliding down the standings and then flames out in the playoffs, I think that you are going to see that they're going to say, well, this combination doesn't work and we need to figure out a different one.
Mm-hmm. Andrew K, good point, Geoff. We aren't doing the little things. Why do we even try to do pick and rolls when we never throw lobs? 90,000 picks with Mitchell Robinson and JB just to draw Detroit's two best defenders to the ball in Jalen Brunson. That is a fact. Great point, Ducksaurus Rex. I don't think it's a rough patch. I think we are being exposed as this has been trending this way even in our wins. Brunson can get his shots whenever he wants. Okay. I think this is the other part. Get the other players up and running and not looking for his shot first. Also, our defense has been trending this way for the past 10 games. Yeah, I think that's true in terms of getting other shots, but Mikal and OG has been a non-factor as well. I think it works both ways. When they do get the ball, they've been ineffective, and Mikal Bridges has been. I mean, this is him. He's been very passive. So I think both things are true, and they need to play off of each other. Brunson drawing the defense, passing it out to them is great. To your point, we need that. But them hitting shots so that the defense has to stay honest and give Brunson the opportunity to operate. It's a two-way. It's two ways. D. Grant, Knicks always have problems with very physical and athletic teams. I think the Knicks aren't rising to the occasion. Remember, in that Cup series, we beat Orlando, which is a physical team. We beat San Antonio, which is an athletic team. We lost to San Antonio the second time. But the Knicks were right in there up until the last 5 minutes or so. Which Knicks team is going to show up? The Knicks team that's going to match the physicality, or the Knicks team that's just going to come in sleepwalking like they did last night? Because we've seen better defense from this team. We've seen crisper offense from this team. And we've seen them play well against athletic teams and against physical teams. Now, if you want to say that was just a one-off, they got up for that game, that they can't really play at that level. Something to
we do. I think we do need a player with an edge to him, because without Josh Hart is the only player that has that point of an edge point to himself. We definitely need, one of these tough guys in a point up here that does a little bit point of an edge to it. It sets a balance point and, a point for a team for how we're going to play. And right now we're extremely too passive. You know what I mean? You need somebody out there firing people up and saying, hey, get on your man and take it personal. Right now we're just not at all.
Yeah. Wow. Heroic Avenue, so super. Players have gave up on Brown and Leon Rose. Wow. Rick and Jalen Brunson have unfettered control, and the team is revolting against them, especially since guys like OG and Mikal got paid. I would have to see other signs to make me think that the team has given up on Mike Brown and Leon Rose. Like, I would have to see more. I would have to see him saying things in a press conference for weeks and weeks and weeks, and the team just not responding to make me think he's lost that locker room. I'm not sure how much control Rick Brunson has on his team. I don't know. It's something to watch out for. Jambroni Z. Deuce was the only player to show up. Clarkson was okay. Everyone else was hot garbage.
Amen.
Yeah. Anything else I mean, we could go on. we could go on.
Yeah.
Ruben Nunez, if this is your first time, welcome. If not, welcome back. If you're new to the chat, if this is your first time, put first time in the chat so I can shout you out. Brunson has to carry too much of the offensive load. Nobody is consistent. Jerrell, we don't just need another ball handler. We need another creator, someone that can create for themselves and others. Brunson needs to be off ball a lot more. I agree with you. Like when I'm talking about a ball handler, that's what I mean. Like somebody that can handle the ball, not just get it over half court, but can actually run action. So Brunson can feel comfortable being off ball.
Yeah. Totally
So.
agree.
And that's what you thought you were getting when you ran Kolek and Brunson and Clarkson in there with, we've run some lineups to try and do that in recent days. And I don't know what happened to them necessarily, but, I think that concept is definitely something that Mike Brown recognizes.
Yeah. Great take debates, Detroit fan. Geoff, Detroit killed the Knicks on the offensive boards in the third quarter. Very noticeable by my brother, who is a Knicks fan. I did not. This McCullough, Brunson, Kolek Deuce lineup, I think it was, or Clarkson might have been in there, and Mitchell Robinson. The tallest player after Mitchell Robinson was McCullough. And I was like, what are we doing here? And they got like 2 or 3 offensive rebounds right off the bat. And I get it. Maybe you want more offense, in there. They're not a very tall team, but they were taller than that. I just didn't get the really, really small lineups with McCullough. I didn't get it. I'm sure there was a reason behind it. I just didn't get it.
Yeah, another super chat as well.
All right. Jamrock, always appreciate you rocking with us. Keon Ellis and Justin Champagne, both good defenders and both make $2.5 million. This team needs some infusion of defensiveness players and another shot blocker. Those defensiveness players need to be able to shoot too. Like we need some two-way players as well. I'm not sure if I'm willing to just bring in somebody that plays defense and can't shoot the ball. All right. Bridges and Stones, first time here. Appreciate you. Welcome. Hopefully you'll come back. Brunson has to lead sometimes by doing less. When no one is touching the ball on consecutive offensive possessions, even if he is scoring, dries out the rest of his teammates. That is a good point. And that's what we talked about, this having the macro in your head. What do we need right now? Who's hot right now? Who do I need to get going right now? Like having the macro, in your head. Yeah, I agree. Mr. My City 313, if this is your first time, welcome. Don't be a stranger. We're on during the week.
He's only going to come to gloat when the Pistons win. He's a Detroit guy.
That's fine too. That's fine too. You're welcome. Put Stu for sure. Plus 2.5 blocks every night. All right. Paris Doug, another super chat. Cat 60 million a year. Just Cowboy like last year. Not sure what that means. Anybody know what that means? Just Cowboy like last year?
Not sure. I've not heard that one before.
Yeah, but we appreciate the super chat, Paris Duggar. Jamrock always. Does Giannis and JB work based on how they both play? I'm not a fan of JB and Giannis together. I think both of them are better on the ball. I don't think Giannis is a shooter. I like Giannis and Cat better. I like Giannis, JB, and Cat as opposed to Giannis and JB. But, that's just me. You got to put a lot of shooting around Giannis for sure.
And we have that, by the way.
you couldn't tell these past. You couldn't tell.
The 3-point shooting has been there. I think it's been there. We're not losing these games because we're shooting awfully from 3-point range. We're losing these games because we're defending poorly, especially at the point of attack, and we're allowing other teams to get whatever they want. Like even last night, our 3-point shooting percentage wasn't what killed us. It was our lack of ball movement and getting better quality shots that killed us as much as anything. So I think we have the shooters. I don't think that's the issue.
Geoff, we scored 90 points last night, and 99 points the other night.
We had 20 turnovers.
Yeah,
that was oof. Yeah,
and 20 and 20 turnovers. The offense is just not working right now. And some of those shots, 3-point shots the Knicks made, I thought those were like prayers that went in. Like they were just like contested shots that fell. You know? I don't know. But again, it depends on who would need to go out, in a trade like that. It's just that if you do bring Giannis in, if OG goes out or Bridges goes out, you just have to bring in somebody that can that can shoot consistently. All right. Any last words before we get out of here? Hour and a half recap show.
Prayers. I'm going to pray for our team. That's what I'm going to do.
Amen.
Right. Brown has been talking about poor point of attack. Listen, roster construction. You can say what you want. Mikal Bridges is not a good point of attack defender. OG is not a good point of attack defender. Neither is Brunson. So I hear what Mike Brown is saying, but Mike Brown needs to talk to the front office. If Mike Brown wants now, again, the Knicks defense is not at their ceiling. Don't get me wrong. They've played better defensively. But if you want a defensive juggernaut, you're not squeezing that, in my opinion, out of this particular team. I do not see a top 10 defense on this team. I don't think they need to be a top 10 defense to win a championship. But if you believe that they do need to be a top 10 defense, you could talk to you blue in the face about how they need to rotate on defense, how they need better point of attack. It's not on this roster. It's not Kolick. It's not Brunson. It's not Mikal. It's not OG. McBride and Shamet, one of who's injured. That's who you got. So if you want, he could talk till he's blue in the face. We don't need to hear that in the press conference. Go talk to Leon Rose about it. You want a better defense? Go talk to Leon Rose about it.
Facts.
I have one thing, Steph, as well.
Yeah.
Do you think that Mikal's Iron Man is actually becoming a detriment point to the team?
In the sense that they should sit him for load manage him?
Because to me, right now, OG needs to sit a game. To me, right now, Mikal definitely needs to sit a game or two, but we're not going to. And I believe he will continue to suffer in ways because it's just the strength point of the schedule right now. So with, winning the cup comes a little bit of compression of your schedule, because every team who has won this cup has gone through this same kind of thing where they lose 4 games. I think it's 4. Every team that has won it has lost 4 games on a consistent basis at some point right in time afterward.
But Knick Nation, what do you say about the fact that everybody talked about Thibodeau burning these guys out, playing them 40 minutes and 38 minutes? Mike Brown hasn't been doing that. He's been extending the rotation so that these guys don't play a lot of minutes. So they need to play less minutes and get days off. I mean,
well, I'm just saying as far as Mikal, because Mikal is a little bit more unique, where a player never takes the time off, and a lot of times he is the continuity for things, and how much we lean on him to have that energy, to have, all of this running around he has to do. We're asking him to be one of our best two-way players. And then with a compressed schedule and a heightened sense of what the cup was, because it's like a little small mini playoffs, then turn around and just say, hey, okay, you're going to play continuously, keep playing every game. And he's still averaging about 37 minutes a game.
On the season or lately?
On the season. I think he's about 37. I could be wrong, but I believe he's somewhere up there.
Yeah. I will say this, and Brian Scalabrine brought this up on Sirius XM radio. He said you can't look at the minutes. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. You can't look at the minutes in a vacuum. You have to look at the minutes in terms of what's the offensive load of the player. Like somebody like a Brunson or a Cat, this was last season, you probably want to keep them around 35 minutes because of their usage and how much they're on the ball. And last year they were about 35 minutes. But guys that don't really put out a lot on offense, mostly just playing defense, you can afford to have their minutes up, up a little higher. Bridges, to me, on offense, he gets a lot of rest, in my opinion, because he just moves the ball along. But I hear what you're saying. He hasn't had a game off, and I'm pretty sure he would want it that way. Let's see. Maybe you could just play him 20 minutes if you feel like he needs rest. Play him 15 minutes as opposed to sitting him out, because I'm sure the streak is important to him.
Yes. Oh, yes, it's very important to him
as well. Jamrock always. Keon Ellis is a 42% career three-point shooter and a defender. I hear you. Jose G Insight or Ginsight. Nah, he's getting paid to play basketball.
I'm kind of agree with that. Like, if he's healthy, he should play. Like, I don't like. Patrick Ewing always played. Like, these older players always played. Like, why is it this new generation? All of a sudden, it's like, oh, like 82 games. I can't. That'd be like you saying I can only go to work. 60% of the season. Well, if you said 60% of the time, you get fired for that, right? When you're supposed to show up, bring your lunch pail, and go to work. If you're not equipped to do that, then you need to train harder. But these guys train full seasons right now. I think the expectation is just lower now because we had all those load management teams, and you have that Kawhi Leonard philosophy where, I can only play 64 games, or whatever. But, guys used to play the full season all the time when they weren't even in shape. So why can these guys who are in the best shape ever not play 82 games? Like, if that's his strength, then, I say if he's not, there's not a medical reason to play the kid. That's how I will always look at it.
There's just times I just believe that you can grind but so hard, but at some points in time, your legs are just not fully underneath you. Because as a former athlete, there were times, and even a Muslim, and I was always considered really in great shape. But there's certain times where you're grinding, doing a lot of things, and where there's just a point in time where your legs are just not fully underneath you, and your body just needs a little bit of a recoup to reset. It happens to everybody. I don't care what athlete there is. It happens to any athlete. There's just times where your legs are just not truly underneath you. There are exceptions to the rules, like Jordan, but you know what I mean? These are rare. So I just think that he, needs a little rest. I just think sometimes, players need to, and even just to sit back and watch the game and sometimes reflect and see what's going on. You know what I mean? On a live point. He, to me, is, I get it. I get he's healthy. He's this, he's that. But there's just certain times where a player like that, he needs some point of a reset, because he's just, Mikal has been, between the two of them, our two wings have played terrible. There has to be some point of reasoning why to it.
Yeah, I think the Knicks are just getting soft. I get what you're saying. It's 36 games into the season. I mean, this is not like this is, game 72. They're not logging the minutes like they were last season. I hear what you're saying. I'm not discounting what you're saying. It's 36 games into the seat, or 37, whatever it is. I don't know. Ruben Nunez, appreciate you. Tibbs ran a much slower offense. Didn't he have to expend so much energy on the offense? It was basically run the shot clock down for our two best players, can get a good shot off. All right. So now, listen, they were standing around with Tibbs. That was a problem. Now the offense is much more fluid. That's a problem, as far as the defense and the legs is concerned. It just seems like a lot of excuses for this team. Jamrock, always, there is a thing where we can start Bridges and play him less minutes in a game. Okay. To me, Mitch and OG has had 4 games of rest. It's time. It's time to get back. I feel like they've been resting in this. But I hear you. I hear you. Those are fair. Those are fair points. He shoots and plays D.A. Train. Appreciate you. It's not the minutes. It's a rough, ugly patch. Okay. Parish Doug, I think us fans need to pace ourselves a bit. We're going to have a few dips in a season. Let's just relax a bit. Yeah. Well, we're right back at it tomorrow. We're going to be, do I have the, I don't think I have, let me see. Do I have this here? Hold on. My bad. I'm trying to find. So Wednesday, we're going to be at Ben's Crab in Valley Stream. DJ Shuttle will be DJing there. It's also his birthday. And then it'll also be a watch party. We'll be watching the Clipper game. So I will be at Ben's Crab. I thought I had the flyer here, but I did post it on X. So if you go to my profile, you'll see the flyers. Ben's Crab, Valley Stream tomorrow around 6:30 p.m. watch party and celebrating DJ Shuttle's birthday. He'll also be DJing during the time. So yes. Lee said, am I based in New York City? Yes, I am based in New York City. Jeff is in Texas, Knick Nation, North Carolina. Did I get that right?
Yep, North Carolina.
Yep, North Carolina.
Queen City.
Queen City. All right. Anyway.
See, I'm in your town. So.
Yeah.
There you go. I like it. Bring it full circle. That's awesome, bro.
Full circle right here.
Shout out to Lee, man. Lee, I heard y'all last night, Nick of Time. I did my rounds, and I stayed with you guys the longest.
Yes.
I love.
Shout out to Lee. Definitely shout out to Lee.
Between you and
Jay Ellis.
Jay Ellis.
Yeah, they went at it last night. I loved it.
On Brunson, I love the
passion.
The back and forth. The only thing I will add to that is you can't expect Brunson to be Cade. He's just not Cade. Brunson needs to be the best he can be, and he definitely was not that. Last night.
Yeah, they both had valid points for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, going back and
Lee wanted Brunson to be much better, and I think K. Ellis was just kind of adding some context to it, like we talked about today, that Brunson needs to be better, but those other guys, if they're better, they make it easier, for Brunson as well. Anyway, I appreciate you guys over there. I appreciate the chat. I appreciate the silent listeners. Definitely appreciate the replay gang and Jeff, Knick Nation. Man, you two make this show go. Anyway, we will be back Thursday, right, Jeff? Mm-hmm. For the Clipper game. That one will be at 12:30, and I will only have an hour because I will be on my lunch break.
Hopefully it's a win. Come on, boys. We need to get on the right side of the ledger here in 2026. Let's get a W.
Right. Please.
Jamrock, always, we were 26th in pace last year, 24th in pace this year. True. Keep in mind, though, that offensive rebounds extend a possession, so that could impact the pace stats, right? It's not another possession. It just extends the possession, so that can impact your pace. Anyway, we could be here forever. I love the vibes from the chat. I love the vibes from you guys. I think we're really, doing a good thing here, just getting everybody, involved, and that will continue. Thursday will be a double dip, 12:30 for the recap show, and then we'll talk more about Brunson and Brown. I think I want to do an I cram to understand. A lot of negativity around Brown right now, a lot of negativity around Brunson. Years ago, if you remember, we did the I Cram to Understand series where we would just bring in a topic that was hot in the chat in the Knicks community, and just it's really about understanding each other's views as much more than it's about convincing each other and who's right, who's wrong. Just understanding the different perspectives on Brown, understanding the different perspectives on Brunson. Jerrell, I'm at work, not work. Maybe I shouldn't have shouted you out. Your boss is coming.
Yeah, don't get fired, Jerrell.
Right. Channel is dope. We appreciate you. We working on it, man. We talk about this. We're working on it. Anyway, until next time, I appreciate everybody. Peace, family.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at?
Dope Soul.